guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is my thoughts on Renfield. I do these videos every once in a while, just giving my fangirly thoughts. So today, I thought I'd do Renfield. I love vampires, specifically Dracula. I have seen a lot of Dracula movies. I own a few of them, just so I can watch them again and again and again. So, I thought that this take on Dracula was interesting, because they focused in on Renfield rather than Dracula. Now, of course, Dracula is a ginormous character in this movie. It's not like he's barely there. He's there, but he's not the main character. That would be Renfield. Now, Renfield, if anyone does not know, is basically his servant. Dracula breaks Renfield's mind, and Renfield craves life, so he eats bugs, and that's how he gains energy, rather than drinking blood like Dracula. He eats bugs, and basically gets people for Dracula to eat. In the original movie, he spends a lot of time in an insane asylum. In this movie, however, you get to see more of what Renfield does. He feeds Dracula, takes care of Dracula, disposes of the bodies. You know, he tends to Dracula's needs. Basically a long-living servant. And he begins to realize that this is not what he wants anymore, and Dracula doesn't really appreciate that idea. So he decides that he's not going to let Renfield leave. It's a whole toxic relationship situation where they are codependent on one another. And Renfield, when he tries to be dependent and leave, Dracula doesn't take too kindly to that, and the whole thing ensues. He kills a bunch of people. A crime boss is involved. It's a whole thing. But I really enjoyed this movie because it involved more of Renfield. Renfield is not a ginormous character in Dracula. He's mentioned, he's there, but he's not... They don't really, focus in on him. This movie focuses on Renfield, how he's feeling, what he's going through when he decides to be a better person, and the struggles he deals with. And they also go over the topic that it wasn't all Dracula's fault. Yes, Dracula broke Renfield's mind, made him a slave, and, forces him to help him. But Renfield chose this path. He abandoned his wife and child to make it rich and live in society. He didn't know all of the shit he was going to have to do. He didn't realize he was going to have to feed Dracula he was going to have to feed Dracula people. But he did choose to leave his family for Dracula, so he is not fully to blame, but he is still partially to blame, which Dracula does use against him later on in the movie. This movie is circling around this toxic relationship. He even goes to like a AA meeting for people in these type of relationships, and narcissistic relationship, and he tries to fight out of that. So it doesn't just involve vampires, it also involves like problems people in normal life have to deal with. Narcissistic people are everywhere, and a lot of people are stuck in relationships that are stylized like Dracula and Renfield. Hopefully not as gruesome as that is, but it is relatable. And I think that the effects and the story were very well done. I think that Nicolas Cage's Dracula, that was a very interesting choice. Now, he has played a vampire before in Vampire's Kiss, where he was nuts, and that movie, hilarious. It's very entertaining. But in this movie, he actually plays a vampire. And I do get themes from Vampire's Kiss, the way he acts. He's also Nicolas Cage, so he acts like Nicolas Cage, but I think he did a very interesting take on Dracula. He's more of, I'd say, nuts. He's Dracula, he feeds, he's powerful, but he's also crazy. And a lot of the other Draculas, they portray him as suave, where he's like a very fancy rich man, and he feeds on ladies. But this Dracula rips people apart, cuts their guts out and rips their heads off. And this Dracula is a lot more gruesome than a lot of the other Draculas. Now, he's not the first gruesome Dracula to ever exist, obviously. But a lot of the other Draculas go for sex appeal rather than murder. This movie went more for like a comedic murder route, which I do believe really helped the film. Now, in this film, Renfield eats bugs, gives him... He takes life energy. But instead of just eating bugs, these bugs give him powers. For a short time, he has, like, super strength and speed and stamina and all this other shit. Like, he basically gets partial vampire powers for a short amount of time when he eats bugs. And so he, cuts someone's arms off with a dinner plate and rips someone's arms off and beats them with it. And, there's a whole aspect to this where the humor really adds to the film and makes it more entertaining to watch. Now, I went in being a ginormous Dracula and vampire fan, and I enjoyed it. Now, I am not I wouldn't say super fan, but I am. But I'm not as picky as a lot of other super fans, where if it's not exactly to a T, I'm pissed off. I thought it was entertaining. It was action-packed. The timing was good. It wasn't like Morbius, where the first half was good and the second half it just sped off. Like, the timing was good. You know, I wish the movie was a little bit longer. It was about an hour and a half. I wish it was closer to 2 hours, but it wasn't like it felt rushed in that hour and a half. I just wish that it was longer. And Awkwafina really added a lot of humor to it, and I think the relationship between Awkwafina and Renfield was very entertaining. This film was not an exact portrayal of the book, obviously, but I do think it changed a few things that made the film better. When it comes out on DVD, who's buying it? This girl is. I thought it was really good. I would rate it like an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. It made me laugh. I loved the action. Normally when it comes to gore, I hate it. I do not like horror movies at all. I don't even watch vampire horror movies. I fucking hate it. But the gore in this movie, it was a little, you know, it was there, but it was humorous. And when it comes to humor gore, I can handle it a little bit more than, like, being creeped out and gory. That I can't handle as much. But I thought it was really good. I do believe the ending, it should have ended a little bit differently, in my opinion. They kill Dracula, and I think it's a really funny scene where they just cut him up into little pieces and put him in cement blocks and throw him in a sewer. And, you know, they do a whole bunch of shit to try and make sure he doesn't come back. If he does come back, it'll take him forever. But I was hoping maybe Renfield would start to grow old, or he would have to become a vampire to save the day, which I always want that. So that wasn't necessary. That's just my thought process. But I think Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult, the two Nicks, did a very good job in this role. Their dynamic was portrayed perfectly. And I love that this film doesn't just deal with vampires, it deals with narcissism, and it deals with the toxic relationship of being stuck in a relationship like that. And it goes deeper into the emotion, the relatability of dealing with something like that. Plus, Isaac from Ghosts was in it, which was my favorite part. I mean, he was a small character, and he's done other things, but I love the show Ghosts. He was in it. That was pretty sweet. I would love to see another movie from this universe. Now that they've killed Dracula, the only way to really do a second one would be if Dracula comes back, or Renfield has to deal with another problem, or whatever. I highly doubt this will be like a movie that gets a sequel. It might, but it feels like a movie that just, it's by itself, which is totally fine. It ends in a way that it can totally be by itself without having to have a second one or a third one. It does a very good job. And I had a good time watching. Is it a perfect piece of cinematic masterpiece? No. Not a lot of movies can get to a point where it's a cinematic, perfect masterpiece. But this movie did what it was going to do. It was action-packed. It was comedic. There was a little bit of emotion in there. It was relatable. It was this, it was that, you know. It had everything it needed, and it did exactly what it was going to do. I do think Nicolas Cage's rendition of Dracula was an awesome take on the character and really adds to the history of Dracula, because there have been so many Draculas, depending on where you want to go. Movies, TV shows, music videos, you name it. They're everywhere. Books. Dracula is an iconic character and has been played in many different versions and ways by different actors, and I think Nicolas Cage was a great rendition to add to the mix of Draculas. Comment down below what you guys think if you have seen Renfield. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like Renfield? Did you like Dracula? Did you like the story? I think I loved it. That's a fact. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm a fangirl by heart, as I say a lot. And when I get excited about something, I fangirl and I talk and I drone on. And I talk really fast. So if I talk too fast, sorry. But I like doing these type of videos because I can get my thoughts out and share them with you. And if you've seen the movie, awesome. If you haven't, you should. This probably spoiled a lot of it for you, but you should watch it because it's good. And I enjoyed it. Yes, sir. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back again on Thursday with another True Crime Thursday and Monday with whatever I decide to post. Alright guys, I'll see you later. Whoosh.